Our now brown cow.
Yep, that's in there. So, how are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. It's week 2, episode 2 of the gaming podcast. Cool story, bro.
Or is it episode 3?
Yeah. We can't do this joke every week, can we? Or can we?
Why don't you read some comments?
Read some comments on the last one. Hang on.
Did anyone comment?
Hang on. Before we do that, we've got to do the intro. Cue the intro.
Oh yeah, play the jingle. Just sitting in silence again.
Yes, welcome to Cool Story Bro, the gaming podcast where we don't have a clue what we're talking about. And you know what? It went so well last week. We did it in one take that we think we're going to do it live. So yes, hello to everybody that's joining us on YouTube Live. Welcome, or Gaming YouTube, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, hello to the probably 2 live viewers. You know what? We actually broke 100 views last episode, so maybe we're going up in the world.
Yeah, we're going to put more effort back into the channel, which is what this podcast is all about. We're going to got loads to talk about this week. We're going to read some comments from last week, because everyone must love it. It is bang on 100 views, the last video. So
sometimes I reckon that we would get more views if I open my bedroom window and shout out to the neighbours.
The live podcast on the airways.
Go on then, read me some comments.
Silver Chirin said 2020's been good to us so far. I'm glad you guys liked the Soulstone Dragons boss in Clay Soldiers mod 4.2. So yeah, we got
this, a bit of a tease.
We got this episode out before that. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
It's probably all going to go downhill from here. I mean, you know, we can never get well, can we?
Nope.
Right. What else we got?
So we got comments from Villain, obviously, an hour and a half of Ziklag and his sultry tones. I'm down for that. So that's putting up our watch time, you know, by listening to the whole thing. So thank you very much for that. Ash Creeper says, can't wait for the next 2 episodes in 2 years' time.
What do you mean watch time? We're not going to get any money from this anyway.
We're not quite we've got 5 days until we're demonetized from our partner.
Okay, we need to release about 10 videos over the next 5 days just to try and rate as much as possible.
Mike Steele says, forever in our hearts, Westwood Studios, hours of fun in Command and Conquer until EA killed it. Yeah, that was us in the last podcast. We were talking about things EA have killed. And we didn't actually mention Command and Conquer, actually. Just too triggered about it being a mobile game.
Pretty big announcement I was at E3 of how much a letdown it was, of how it's turned into a, you know, the franchise is now on a mobile game. And yeah, I don't want to get into it because I'm just going to get triggered, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get triggered as well.
I really don't want to talk about it, but yeah, Command and Conquer has been announced, new game. I was so hyped, and then it just like was this big reveal that it's a mobile game. So yeah. It's just, I mean, I get it. The mobile games, it's just like you're balling in money, like making mobile games. I get it. I understand from a business standpoint, but we are lacking these days in good RTS games. Like, okay, the last big RTS game was, you know, Blizzard's king of RTS games.
Yeah, StarCraft.
And StarCraft 2, which again itself is dying. That's not really stuck around. I really liked Command & Conquer because, especially the early ones that had that World War I, World War II feel about them. Slightly twisted reality on some of them, but it was good. And then, but even the other ones like Tiberian Sun, they were very good games. It was just bare bones, basic. I still play. Someone rewrote the original code for Red Alert 95, and there's still like an active community playing it all the time, so I do like to go back to that every now and again. But obviously other RTSs that we used to play, included like Age of Mythology, Age of Empires series, that sort of stuff. A few Total Wars, and they're all very good.
There's a new Age of Empires coming out soon.
There is, yeah, that's going to be good to see that sort of come back. But the RTS needs to come back. You know
what? I don't understand why EA did this. You know, the community is clearly stated online on every single forum post you could imagine that we don't want like we're sick of Command & Conquer just being absolutely dumped on. You know what I mean? Like we want something good and worthwhile for the fans, and they just did the complete opposite there. So I don't really know where their head is.
Every time they've announced a Command & Conquer game, like in the last few years, they've just been awful. Good RTS that has come out though. Northgard, we've been playing quite a bit of that, haven't we? That's a decent RTS.
Yeah. Very good. That actually came out. It's full release now, apparently, and they're going to keep on expanding it even more. So yeah, props to those guys. It's a nice new spin.
It's inside the 100 best-selling games of Steam in 2018 so far as well. So it's done well on its launch. Yeah,
it did that well for an RTS, a new IP as well from a new studio.
Yeah, brand new IP. It's kind of like Age of Empires, but you're very, very limited on villagers that gather your resources for you. And you have to explore and move tiles. So it's a bit like a grand strategy game mixed with a live RTS.
Yeah, it's like if like Age of Mythology, because it's got some like Norse myth in there. So it's like Age of Mythology plus like the Civ games like had a baby, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like the like tiles mixed in with the like a real time fighting as well. It's nice.
Yeah, it's good, and bring back the RTS. That's all we want. So yeah, thanks for your comments on the last video. Leave your comments down below. Obviously, there's going to be far more because this is live streamed, but we'll pick out the questions to read out in our next podcast. Which hopefully...
No one asked for live streaming, by the way, but it benefits us, so this is why we're doing it.
Nobody asked for it, which means we're going to do it.
We even asked all the fans, I would say, last episode, we're like, if you want us to do this live, let us know. No one said it, but we're doing it anyway.
We're doing it anyway. So yeah.
But yeah, if you want, your comments read out for the next episode, that is going to come out next week, I'm pretty sure. But don't hold us to that. Leave your comments down below, and we'll read them at the start of the next episode. There you go. You can get yourself a shout out.
So let's have a quick look at this week's gaming news. Rainbow Six actually have made the headlines. Players who use slurs are now getting instantly banned in their effort into stopping toxic players. We've seen so many games companies try to stop toxic players through various different means. League of Legends, they tried their tribunal system mixed with their honor system, which didn't work, or worked for about a week until people got bored of it. But according to PC Gamer, dropping hate speech is now Rainbow Six's #1 priority, and loads of people saw automatic instant bans after using racist or homophobic slurs in text chat. Ubisoft has confirmed in an email to PC Gamer via email. It's now live on Siege. These bans seem to last 27 minutes for the first instance, which prevents you playing. Second instance, it goes to 2 hours, and after a third, an official investigation goes on into the account, which will likely lead into a permanent ban. Okay, so
even if you do for some reason go down that route of saying those things, and you do mess up, from the looks of it, you are getting some second chances out there. And from what I've read so far, it's quite positive. I know the community is quite 50-50 split right now. I think I was reading the subreddit about some posts involved in this with the new changes of their policies, and a lot of people have said that the Rainbow Six Siege community, there's a lot of toxic people out there, just for any game, like you said, game companies, they always struggle to kind of weed out these nuisance people that like to start drama and cause hate online. So I'm all for it. I think it's good that more companies are taking more drastic action such as handing out bans. So, I'm all for it. I think it's going to be good for the community to, to hunker down and get rid of these kind of people.
Yeah, it's I mean, with games like Siege that are fast-paced, big strategy, multiplayer games with often ranking involved, usually when you're playing it at a competitive level, it does get heated, and this is just their way at tackling that. Whether it'll work remains to be seen. Obviously, it's only banning text chat, so
interesting.
And from what I've read, I think earlier in the year, they've promised like muting text chat and enhanced chat monitoring for abuse and all that sort of stuff. But it's here now. We'll see how this goes. Whether it'll make an effect, I don't know, because I don't know. But I think a lot of teams, they'll be in their own private Discords or other private VoIP chat services, so you generally don't hear what people are saying to you in that situation in their ranked environment. But if it improves it for the casual player, even better. And
yeah, I mean, like, Siege is such a teamwork based game, so you do need to talk to just random strangers on the internet to actually survive on that game. I personally don't play it, but I do watch a lot of streamers that do, and they're constantly talking to like new people via the game. So everyone is open to maybe being listening to those kind of things. But it's like you said, it's a very, very competitive game, which is doing very well actually. It's even rivaling Counter-Strike, which is cool to see. But with those kind of games, people sometimes do just have outbursts, even if they don't mean them, but it can still affect the person on the other end. So it's interesting. Yep,
so it goes. In other news, we've got GNN Earthfall has come out. Very similar to Left 4 Dead 2, which we've been playing actually this week. We can talk about that shortly. It's basically, you take the Left 4 Dead style, identical, 4-person co-op, get from one place to the other on a linear map. The art style looks very similar. You just replace the zombies with aliens. That's it. And that's Earthfall. It's received a lot of criticism on launch, with just saying it literally is a Left 4 Dead reskinned with aliens. And it's worse than Left 4 Dead. Metacritic so far is yet to rate it, but 3 reviews from some of the top critics on the site already rating it pretty poorly, with IGN coming out with parts of Earthfall present a certain charm, and that the co-op shooting experience certainly could be fun with the right group of friends, but it's hard to get away from the fact that Earthfall is a lesser incarnation of a decade-old game with fewer modes and missions and at a higher price. And they all pretty much say the same, that it's a reskin of Left 4 Dead and it's worse off.
Yeah, it's interesting that they've said that it's almost a decade-year-old game now, because like you said, we were playing Left 4 Dead 2 not so long ago, just now pretty much, and you know what, that game has aged very well in my opinion. It's incredible that it was like that when it came out that long ago. Yeah,
I still go back to it like regularly, because despite there being a finite number of official missions, of course you can a limited number of modded levels and things like that, the official ones are still great to play through because they're different every time. Obviously you can play them in versus and you get to be the zombies, which is great and all that sort of stuff, but even just playing the campaign, it's great. And Left 4 Dead, the characters are funny, they've got great phrases, they're memorable, the characters are, the levels are well designed. It's still, despite after playing that, when you're playing it on hard, it's got that chaotic moments where you're just like, oh my god, it's brilliant. I'm a big fan of Left 4 Dead. Both 1 and 2 were brilliant games.
And what's nice about it as well is, if you go online, you can also play the versus mode where you can play as the infected, as all the the different classes of zombie. and that's a lot of fun because then that involves 8 players,
Yeah.
4v4. It's a lot of fun.
Obviously, we got the fake tease of Left 4 Dead 3 last year after someone hijacked the old official Left 4 Dead Twitter account. Or was it the Facebook account? I can't remember. Either way, yeah, it happened last year. I think the domain expired and someone else jumped up on it.
That's pretty funny. You know what? I kept on hearing like leaks or something like that, like way in the past of people talking about the new engine that Valve were doing. I can't remember what it's called now, but yeah, they were talking about how they were going to remaster Left 4 Dead on the new engine. I don't know if this is going to be the thing, but it seems like, like we said last episode, that it seems like Valve are working on VR right now, but I do reckon they're going to, they're working on something secret and they're just going to come out, all guns blazing, hopefully.
Yeah. There's been a lot of, I imagine it'll be a VR experience if they do something else with it, as we said, but they have, I don't know whether it's been officially hinted. I know Valve News Network's been talking about on YouTube that in some of the game files for Left 4 Dead 2, there's been hints that there's like Left 4 Dead 3. Some screenshots of like people working at Valve. You can see that they've been working on a folder that says Alpha D3, and also the lead developer in like, this was last year I think, was having, in the space of like a month, like hundreds of hours of gameplay in Left 4 Dead 2, which hinted they might be testing another game on the live servers, but calling it Left 4 Dead 2. There were all these sorts of speculations, obviously just nothing surfaced, so it just might be people clutching at straws. But yeah,
the community is so funny. I love that. They're so smart.
I know.
They're so smart. For example, when Bethesda was trying to hide, Starfield for so long, people knew about the trademark as soon as it happened. It's crazy how the fans and the community get together and figure out all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's mental. But yeah. I genuinely hope it does come out. I'd love a Left 4 Dead 3, Portal 3, and all the 3s from Valve, but I think we talked about our last podcast, so we won't linger on it too long.
I didn't really find a lot of more gaming news, to be fair.
Well,
apart from a couple of DLCs.
Yeah, there's a few other things come out this week. Codemasters revealed the full list of cars for F1 2018. So looking forward to that. As I said, big F1, well, general racing fan. Been playing some more of the Crew 2 this week as well, until my TV broke, so I've not played too much of Crew until my TV gets repaired. I can get back on my Xbox One X. So yeah, not been near my Xbox this week because I kind of want to get back on. I kind of want to get back on Super Lucky's Tale as well, which is something I did want to talk about because it's an absolutely great game, Super Lucky's Tale. It was a new IP that came out last year. It was been developed by Playful Corp, released by Microsoft on the Xbox, and it's the character's this fox. It's got the gameplay. It's sort of that's taken out of sort of like Banjo-Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot, and Spyro the Dragon. That sort of style. You go to different hub worlds and you complete a level. You get a token at the end, which is a 3-leaf clover. Sorry, 4-leaf clover in Lucky's Tale, and that's it. It's just a real fun art style, real chilled game. I quite like playing it after work, just to sort of chill out.
So
it's not.
So it's kind of like a jumply, puzzly adventure.
Yeah,
fighter.
But they do really well to mix the levels up. Like, obviously, you kill enemies by jumping on their heads and stuff like that, and it's a mixture of jumping puzzles, but it's not. It's a 3D platformer, essentially, but it'll switch to 2D at times, or you'll have to speed run parts of it, or, it's just really good, and it's, I was expecting to get bored of it. I was half expecting it to be repetitive, the levels, but it really mixes it up well, and it's a great game. Came out November 7th last year, and I remember everyone was hyped at the last E3 for it, and it's now part of Xbox Game Pass, which is how I got hold of it, so it's brilliant. And anyone that's got Xbox Game Pass, I'd recommend getting that.
Very nice. So, is there any more news? Anything newsworthy?
One other thing that I noticed was Borderlands 2 got its a big community patch actually, fixing.
Oh yeah, I read about that.
They bug fixes, cosmetic changes, new features, gear changes, skill changes, quest changes, enemy changes, you name it. This is like a huge community patch. I love community patches for games. I know back in the day when we were playing Age of Mythology, there was a big community patch for it before the remastered edition came out, and it just fixed everything. And I know some of the pro tournaments were using that community patch for quite a while because it pretty much brought it on a level. So that was good. And then finally, actually, I'm looking forward to this. Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered. You can see what they did there. Came out this week. Remaster of Red Faction Guerrilla. Absolutely brilliant game. I remember playing this on the Xbox 360 when it first came out. Just like the destruction mechanics on this game are still amazing today. Like their destruction mechanics aren't like how they explain it. When you shoot a building in another game that's got destruction and it blows up, it will generally fall down in the same way every time because that's just how it's programmed. Red Faction, they programmed stress mechanics into it, so if you blew the right support pillar of a building, it would fall down from the right hand side. Speaking, some of the level designers were talking, saying that because of the way the engine was designed, the structures that they had to build for the game had to be structurally sound in the engine, like for the real world, so they'd be becoming like architects. And if they just put it in the engine, oh, this is a really cool building, and it didn't have like support beams or stuff like that, it would just fall down in the engine because of the stress mechanics and the gravity mechanics that they created for it. So
that must have been a pain in the
so
arse.
Yeah, it's for the level designers, they must have hated it, but it's an absolutely fantastic game. Considering it came out for the Xbox 360, it pushed that console to its limits even when it first came out. I know it was an early game. Oh, I couldn't tell you when the original one came out. To be honest,
a long time ago, wasn't it? It's a long time.
Very, very long time ago. Yeah, quite looking forward to jumping on the remastered. Apparently, a multiplayer is great. I never tried the multiplayer actually. The first
I didn't know
time
how to
around.
multiplayer.
Yeah, well, whether it did the first time, I don't know, but it's definitely got multiplayer this time, and I can imagine it's very chaotic and good fun. So, looking forward to getting back on that. And I think that's about it for gaming news this week.
Yeah, there is like another piece of news article that we're going to touch on slightly afterwards. But first of all, I think it's time to try something new.
Yes, I've been sent a jingle, so I've got to play it, and then we'll go.
Yeah, play it. It's time to play Guess the Game with the Sneaky Bros, and occasionally a guest that has nothing better to do with their life. Alright, let's play.
Yes, the production value on that is fantastic, Ziklag. I mean,
I know, right?
I think First take. I was about to say, you got to say you spent hours on that or something like that.
I didn't. Honestly, I didn't. So, yeah, I figured, I was looking at other podcasts, and people, they talk, and it's kind of the same thing. They'll put an image over the, over the sound. But I thought I would mix it up a bit. Let's play a bit of a mini game. This podcast is all about games, so why don't I throw in a game for you? So I've took the spin of when you're a kid, how you had those faces and those characters, and you would flip down a face when you would say like, does this person have glasses?
Do you mean Guess Who?
Yeah. So the game Guess Who, and I've integrated that into a game. So I will think of a game, and you have 5 minutes to guess what that game is. But after every minute, so when 1 minute is over, I will give you a clue or a cryptic hint, and hopefully that will you'll be able to answer it correctly. I did test this with my wife just to make sure that it flowed all right, and she loved it. She was raving about it. Her arms were in the air. She said, "You know what? This is the best production value that I've seen ever."
Sounds like a lie to me. It doesn't sound like anything she'd say.
Don't ask her about that. Don't quote her. She's very busy during the week, so don't bother with that. So I'll just go over the rules again because I did write it down. So you have 5 minutes to guess what the game I'm thinking of. I can only reply with yes or no, and after every minute, I'll give you a clue and a hint or a cryptic clue.
Oh.
So,
is it a game I'm gonna know?
it is a game you're going to know.
Sorry, I feel like I'm starting the game already. I've already worked out my first few questions.
So you know what? I'm just going to go to Google and start a timer. So I'm going to get all this, all this ready. Okay, so the 5-minute timer is ready to go. So yeah, it is a game you do know. Do not worry about that. My wife, she didn't manage to get the answer, but I'm kind of afraid because I reckon you will be able to get it quite quickly. And I hope you don't, because I might have to like change up the rules a little bit. So are you ready to play Guess the Game?
Is it Star Wars?
I'm starting the timer. Here we go. You can ask me any question, yes or no. Go ahead. Go for it.
Have I played this game?
Yes.
Have I played it recently?
No.
Is it console or is it console?
Yes.
It is console.
It is, yeah.
Xbox 360?
Yeah.
So it was that sort of era.
Yeah.
Is it a shooter?
It is a shooter, yes.
First person shooter?
Yes.
Call of Duty?
No, it's not. You got 20 seconds until I give you the first clue.
Is it Battlefield?
It's not Battlefield. You can ask me any question you like.
Yeah, no, I just thought I'd get the big ones out of the way first. Is it set in like the World War II era or anything like that?
Oh boy. I'm going to say no. Okay. I'm going to stop the timer. I'm going to give you your first clue, okay? So, pay attention. The first two clues, are a bit, they don't reveal too much, but, as the clues go on, it's going to reveal a lot more. So the first clue is, I'll take over my character model's face. I'll take over my character model's face. That's the first clue. Does that ring any bells? I'm starting the timer. Got 4 minutes.
I'll take over my character model's face. What?
I'll take over my character model's face.
I've genuinely no idea what you're going on about. Like, is it? So it's set in like the World War II era?
No.
You said yes before. I'm sure you said yes before.
I had to think, but I'm going to say no to that question.
It's not. Yeah. I've played it. It's set in the world. It's not set in the World War II era. Good God, I have no
25
idea.
seconds.
Has it got like a big multiplayer scene to it?
No.
It's not. So it's more of a single player game.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a single player shooter. Has it got a big co-op mode to it?
Yes, you got 3 seconds. I'm going to stop the timer now. So here's your second clue. So maybe this will help you think. Here's some lines from the enemy NPCs. So come on, I won't shoot. Or I killed at least 100. You? Let me see. 255. No, 6. 256? Man, you're shitting me, right? I'm just kidding. I only got one, and he died because I tripped and fell on him, and that killed him? No, but the fall from the 50th floor did. Now that's some death. Whatever works, right? Anything ring a bell? Very unique lines from NPCs there.
Yes. Is it?
3 minutes.
I can think of the game.
You could probably narrow it down by asking me more questions. Yes or no?
Yeah. Is
or,
one of the big levels set in a casino?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think I know the game, but I can't think of it.
Well, what we'll do is you can keep on asking me questions to narrow it down even more, even though you probably know what it is. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. For the viewers out there that are interested in the game, you could go for the ride and hear the rest of the clues and see if the viewers can get it as well.
Okay. So, is it can you switch to third person?
Yes.
Has it got a crouch and cover mechanic to the shooting?
Yes. I wonder what it could be. Alright, I'm going to stop you there. So the third clue God damn it! I knew you were going to get it really early. So the third clue. This was going to be a pretty good one, a pretty big giveaway. Is I'm not around anymore, but the fans still say my name. I'm not around anymore, but the fans still say my name.
Yeah.
Right. 2 minutes on the clock. Do you want me to just read out the rest of the?
Yeah, just read them out because I know. I feel like 5 minutes is too much torture to put people through.
All right. So the fourth clue was, hang on a minute. I was promised a pot of gold. Hang on a minute. I was promised a pot of gold. You know, maybe that could ring a bell. What it could be. And the fifth and final one was, a city where oddities don't make you lame, but instead bring you riches, fortune, and fame. So, do you want to give the viewers? I'm pretty sure you know the answer now.
I do, but I can't. I genuinely can't think of the game's name.
Are you serious? You can't think of the name?
We used to play it all the time. Like it's got terrorist hunt mode and all that sort of stuff.
You can't think of the name? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think of it.
Big mode in a casino, just like.
You ready? I'm not around anymore, but the fans still say my name.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I was promised a pot of gold. That's a big clue.
Yeah, it's Rainbow Six.
But a city where oddities don't make you lame, but instead bring you
it's Rainbow
riches.
Six Vegas. Yeah, it's Vegas.
Yay,
Rainbow Six Vegas.
there you go. Rainbow Six Vegas. There you go.
And Vegas 2. Man. Vegas 1 was... We played Vegas 1 loads, didn't we? That was one of the great co-op shooters, actually. God, that was such a good co-op shooter, playing Terrorist Hunt on that.
Did you know that game is over 10 years old?
Is it? You know, I could definitely go for downloading that this week and playing some Vegas.
We'll have to open up Uplay, download the game.
Yeah, hopefully we can find it somewhere for a good price. Yeah, that was such a good co-op shooter. I miss real good co-op games. I think, saying that though, I kind of think we're in the co-op era at the moment. There's a lot of co-op games that are coming out.
We are, yeah.
Brother Tale of Two Sons, fantastic game. Real good storytelling again. Not much, say, in the way of combat or anything like that. It's more of the odd jumping puzzle here and there. But again, that was really good. There
was a co-op game recently where it was about two guys escaping prison, which was very well received by fans and the media.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. That was also good.
Oh yeah.
So funny.
That.
Such a good game that was. Obviously, Overcooked. Overcooked 2's coming out soon as well. So that's how good that.
I can't wait for that.
Overcooked. When I came into America,
fantastic game.
We played far too much Overcooked. It's actually got a storyline to it as well.
Yeah. Where what was it, like meatballs are taking over the earth or sort of like something
silly
meatballs
like that. Are taking. Was it a giant onion?
Giant onion.
I'm sure it's a giant onion.
No, I'm pretty sure the giant onion was the good guy.
Oh, was he?
And he was sending us on the quest.
I've not listened to the plot line at all. Clearly in that game.
So yeah, that was Guess the Game. What do you think of that little game? Is it good? Is it a little bit too easy?
I was on the edge of my seat the entire time.
I could imagine. I could hear you there rustling about. Everyone was going wild. The crowd was going wild. I'm sure the comments are going absolutely nuts. You know, bring us the second episode. I will. It'll be there. I'll try and make it a little bit harder. I knew that as soon as you said Tom Clancy earlier on in this episode, I was like, oh, damn it. I was like, I shouldn't have done that one. Next episode, I'll make sure to make it a lot harder.
Okay. I'm glad we did that. So, we were talking about community patches before with Borderlands and to fix glitches and stuff like that. And there's been a monumental glitch this week in one of the biggest MMOs, hasn't there?
Oh, yeah.
There's
There's the old school RuneScape made by Jagex. There was a massive, huge bug which kind of stopped the game in its tracks. The devs had to take the game offline for a little bit. It was a huge ordeal, a very serious ordeal as well, because it pretty much spawned in max cash
for everyone, which is
loads of players,
which is 2,147 million is a max cash staff in RuneScape.
And, you know, because it's a player economy game, you know, with this kind of bug arising from such a popular game, you know, it's a very serious issue. It's a developer's nightmare. So this bug came along with the thieving and pickpocketing game integrity update, which is kind of funny because the update was all about balancing people getting rich really quickly, and they did the opposite of that with this bug, and they made everyone rich. So they completely screwed up the integrity of the live server, and they had to shut it down. Apparently, the bug was triggered by you know, some form of cash being spawned. So if cash was in some form of like chest or something, it'll be like max cash stack. If you killed another player that had cash on them, it would turn into the most amount of cash you've ever seen in your life. Like, the economy was flooded with so much gold, the prices of items just sank dramatically, and the devs just went, cut the wires, cut it out. And for the first time in a long time, they did a server rollback. Isn't that just mental?
That's the first time ever in RuneScape history they've done a rollback. That's not yeah, that's they've never had to do it before, which is why it was down for so long. They've never had to do one before, so they had to make sure they got it right. Obviously, then they're not immune from glitches. They've had some duplication glitches. Have actually been in RuneScape for a while. There's been loads of them, but it's generally only a couple of people that have exploited it, and it's not got far. They just ban the players, and that's it. It's game over. Obviously, previous to this, I don't think this glitch has got a name yet, but back on the 6th of the 6th, 2006, which is also originally known as the 666 glitch, is the Falador Massacre. And probably the most infamous glitch and bug abuse ever. It's one of the major things in RuneScape history, which even made it into the documentary for 15 years. And also on the 10th year anniversary event, they did something down in the Rimington area of the game to sort of celebrate it.
In Falador, everyone was in there, and every now and then someone would become Duradel. You know, the big infamous guy that killed everyone, and then he could kill everyone in Falador. It was just like massive little party. No one got killed, obviously, because you know it was a safe event. But it was still funny how, you know, you could go to Falador, you could become this infamous player, which which is kind of funny because for a long time they didn't talk about Falador Massacre. They were very private.
They were embarrassed about it.
They were, yeah, they were asked about it at panels and events, and they would always kind of diverge away from the question. But nowadays, they just accept that it happened and they make fun of it.
I think because it's just part of it's what makes games like RuneScape and coming on to another big bug in a huge MMO shortly. It's what makes them that. They've got history. Oh, do you remember when this happened? It's things that aren't meant to happen are remembered by players fondly, although it was not good for players at the time. And for people that don't know, basically it's a big MMO RuneScape, and this was the first guy to get 99, which is the top level at the time, in a skill called construction, where you could make your own houses, essentially. It was a big thing. Everyone had kind of wanted their own houses in the game for ages. It was a great update. And so this guy, he was one of the first ones. He was going to have a 99 party. He put it on the forums when forums used to be a thing. And
the party got out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah, so there was like a dungeon under the ground in his house. That's how your houses could really be quite vast. And it was PvP down there, and if you ejected people from that dungeon whilst in PvP mode, they were then in PvP mode outside the house in the safe area of the game, so they could kill people without the people they're killing being able to fight back, or even them knowing what was going on, to the point where mods were just running around saying bank your items, bank your items, bank your items. I'm quite surprised they didn't shut the server down in that instance.
what happened very early in the morning.
Yeah,
where
so
most
none of the mods were online,
like,
really. Yeah.
like most of the Jagex staff was actually still in bed, and it was just the player moderators, so they had no power apart from muting the offenders. So people were losing party hats. There is some footage out there, so I'm sure if you Google Falador massacre, you'll be able to see some footage of Duradel killing and making those very famous kills and getting that green party hat.
Indeed. There's plenty of other famous glitches around. Obviously, there's some that we're not going to mention, but I know people like us to just give them a shout out. The Masigno glitch in Pokemon Blue version was a huge one, and I know it's referenced in loads of modern games today.
I've got an interesting story.
Go on.
Which is kind of like the RuneScape one. It's an MMO from World of Warcraft. This was a very famous glitch and exploit. There was a new raid that came out back in the day, and essentially what would happen is when you got to the final boss, he would do some form of like spell on you, and it was called Corrupted Blood.
Yeah, it was a Corrupted Blood Plague. Yeah, so World of Warcraft. Yeah.
And it would drain your hit points. So, and it was a very contagious debuff as well. So, and then what happened was this debuff stayed on the players, and it essentially turned into a pandemic.
Well, do you know how it stayed on the players and got out?
No.
What happened was there was in fact the mechanic worked fine for the players in the dungeon, so when they died it didn't leave them. But what happened, hunters who played with pets and had them infected, if they withdrew their pet and pretty early on after them being infected and then went back to the main world and respawned their pet, it would respawn infected, and thus that's how it was a disease that spread throughout the game. And again, something that they didn't acknowledge for ages, but this made the papers and the news headlines. This glitch did, I remember.
It was that big that it actually was studied upon by epidemiologists. Basically, because it's very hard to study a pandemic when it does happen in the real world. So they took this World of Warcraft case, and they found it very interesting that players responding as you might think in a real world. You had some risked infection to save others, so they went in to try and get their friends out. Some fled the scene, some abandoned the big cities altogether. People were living in the wilderness. People were only training in low populated areas. Some spread the disease intentionally to spread the madness even more. So people were studying how this disease and outbreak actually happened in a virtual world, and would take that data and compare it to what might happen in real life if something like this ever happened, which is really cool.
Yeah, so I wasn't a WoW player, but I know the WoW players out there will definitely remember that one. Very infamous glitch. Big hardware glitch, actually. Anyone that owned an Xbox 360 will know the biggest glitch and design flaw of all time in a console, the old red ring of death.
I remember that. I got that.
It was a design flaw with early parts of the console and gave a failure rate of 67%.
That's a big percentage.
67%, yeah. A multi-billion-dollar replacement and warranty program was issued to fix this. Yours included. Got sent off to Germany, didn't it?
Yeah. But, to be fair, they were very quick with it. So.
But yeah, a very expensive mistake for Microsoft. That was. It was. You just didn't expect it. Obviously, I think the hardware at the time wasn't expected to be used as much as people did. That was just as the time that Call of Duty was getting popular and multiplayer gaming was really hitting its ground running on the console market.
To be fair, Microsoft got bashed a lot, but Sony, with the PS3, also had a lot of problems with itself on launch as well. But but I think the 360 got more flack because it was just more like in your face with like, you know, with the like 3 red rings.
It was that it was them red rings. That's what did it. Had they not coded that into the hardware, they not had them red lights, it wouldn't have mattered. It would have just been as unnoticed as the Sony's was, but because it was such a, oh my god, I've got 3 red rings. But it would happen sometimes when you start your Xbox and it wasn't a problem, you'd restart it and it'd be fine. So you'd have
like
this sort of like, oh my god, I've got it. Oh no. But I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say the most famous glitch exploit of all time. Do you think you can guess?
The biggest glitch. Could you give me a guess of what game it was from?
It's a fighting game.
It's a fighting game. Oh boy. More like a 2D fighting?
Yeah.
I'm going to pass. I do not know.
Super Smash Brothers. Wave dashing is a glitch.
Oh, really?
Wave dashing was never meant to be part of the game.
You've been watching the documentary recently.
I have,
That's why you're bringing this up. Go on.
Wave dashing. It was never part of. To be fair, a lot of things that happen in Smash Brothers are never meant to be part of the game. Never coded in intentionally. But wave dashing actually is something that's so big. And all the pro players
like frames or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they cancel frames and they're able to slide essentially across the game, and just they take the speed of the game from what is essentially a fast fighter anyway to this next level, and it's just massively quick with wave dashing.
Yeah, I have a hard time actually following what's happening in the game sometimes when I'm watching these pro players play. It's just like there's so many things going on the screen, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, which is why people didn't like Brawl so much, because many of what they call tactical glitches, so wave dashing, L cancelling, all that sort of stuff, was removed for Brawl, and it became a point of contention among the community, calling Brawl like a dumbed down version of the game. But there's a new Smash Brothers coming out this year for the Switch.
Yeah.
Whether it have that in, I can't see why they wouldn't. They've got to make it as close to Brawl as possible, as Smash as possible.
They did comment that it seems that they're more open for there being some form of esport. They said that they don't want to focus on that because, you know, they're all about, you know, having fun mostly, you know, being a very family-friendly, child-friendly game.
Yeah.
That they said that it is going to be more casual and it is going to be a bit more like Brawl. And it's, you know, you won't be able to do like crazy stuff. It still will be fast, but they said it won't be as fast.
Yeah, it'll still be great. I think they're trying to keep it a level playing field, so you don't have to learn these crazy mechanics.
Yeah.
Be interesting anyway.
I think it's really cool how, you know, a glitch like that could be, you know, taken and used to bring a new whole meta to an online game. You know, it's just nuts that, you know, people can figure this stuff out and then just make it meta.
It's crazy that that there's still new techniques being developed today for Smash. Like, people come up with, because it's a sandbox fighter, people can come out with just crazy things. It boggles me how people come up with stuff. It's the same with people that speedrun. They find glitches and exploits after in games that are decades old.
Glitches and speedrun. What's it called?
Games.
Like,
games done quick? And do you mean
still being found today? You know, like even games that are like 20 years, 10 years old. You know, there's still glitches and, you know, exploits that are being used today to, you know, to get that quicker time.
But yeah, I love watching speedruns in games and stuff. As I said, games done quick. It's a great charity live stream. Just seeing some. I mean, I love like the platformers like Smash and stuff like that. And Mario and all that. Not Smash, sorry, Super Mario done quick and stuff like that. It's really good to watch. I really like it.
So, talking about more glitches and exploits, there's a couple here that I want to, you know, bring to light. Is when the GTA 5 online was a thing when it came out, and when they released the modding tools for the fans and the community, which you would say is a good thing. That the community and the fans can create what they like. They can bring a new swing and take on GTA. But what it also did was it opened up a whole new backdoor to essentially use a mod tool so they could steal in-game players' cash, and they could also set anyone's player level to whatever they like, and then this would obviously trigger the Rockstar's database and be like, oh, this guy's clearly hacking. So essentially a hacker could set your level Vale to like 8,000, and then that would trigger it, and then that would get you banned. So you're just a legit player trying to have fun online, and you're getting banned left and right, and then you have to go through the support process. You have to get the tickets, and essentially what happened was Rockstar deleted modding altogether. It's now not a thing, I don't believe. They might have done a few things, but they got a lot of flack for this. They got hated by the community. It was this big thing. They got their reviews on Steam got absolutely smacked down. There were so many negative comments, but it's GTA 5, so it didn't hurt it that much. But it's just crazy how like you can have a big feature like modding not being allowed on GTA because of hackers having that backdoor.
I get abused enough on GTA 5 online as much as it is anyway, because
yeah.
The guy I play GTA 5 with would really like cars, so we're just interested in driving. We do some off-roading on GTA 5, and we'll just be like fine, just like off-roading up the side of a mountain, no problem. And then someone comes with a helicopter and just rocket launches us. It just like really winds me up. So
another big exploit was Pokemon Go. When it was really popular back in the day, you could actually put an egg inside of a gym, and it would make it so that gym would be unbeatable. So if you were like in the yellow team, you could pop your egg in there somehow. I can't remember how it was done, and then because that egg has no value, it didn't actually show up as you could fight it. So you would take over the gym with your egg, and it just stayed that color. And eventually Niantic patched it, and a couple of bans were initiated. And it's just funny how like such a core feature like that could be abused so much.
Yeah, Pokemon Go's in a much better place now anyway. It seems to be getting a bit of a resurgence at the moment in players. Games are always going to be subject to hacks and glitches and God knows what else, especially as you introduce modding. And it's just how people combat it.
What do you feel about game companies banning people for using these glitches?
It depends. With intent to break the game. So, Falador Massacre, yes. Max Cash Stack in RuneScape again, yes. Corrupting Blood Plague in World of Warcraft, yes. But, getting yourself outside the map to take a cool screenshot and something like that, maybe not.
See, it's funny you mention that, because I have a story here about Overwatch. The character Mei, she's a bit of a support character. She deals with like a lot of frost attacks.
Yeah.
Essentially, she could spawn up an ice wall, and what you could do is you could clip yourself with that wall out of the map, and then you would become invulnerable, and you could kill players from the outside. And essentially Blizzard did a patch, and plenty of bans came out, and a lot of fans were like, I got banned for doing this. Isn't it a feature? Is it a glitch? Did they deserve to get banned? What do you think?
Yes, yeah, it's not a feature. Anyone that thinks that they were that thinks it's right doing that is very clearly deluded. In fact, PUBG, that's never had glitches or hack problems, has it? When Sanhok first released, there was a part of the map where you were able to get under it, and you were able to sit under the PUBG map and just shoot people.
Oh yeah, I actually did that one time, just like test if it worked. It was, but I think I did a more of a unknown version of the bug. I didn't like abuse it. I didn't kill anyone while I was there, but you could like go to this coast in this certain spot, and you could crawl onto this rock, and then it would be like this like mini cave you could like go into. It was like really cool. But yeah, that's been patched since then.
Yeah, it's but yeah, that game's not been taken over by hackers or exploits, has it?
Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
Which is a good thing, because you could make that as your excuse every time you die. I die by a hacker.
I mean, I'm all up. I love modding in games and stuff like that. But I think people demand modding in everything, and I don't think it's right in every single game. Like, games that have big currencies in, where it transfers from server to server, leveling systems, stuff where you have your own loot and stuff like that, really, probably shouldn't have a modding in. Like, it's
See, you say that, but DayZ, for example, has a lot of those features you've said, and a lot of players are saying that they will return to DayZ once modding is a thing.
Yeah, I just... It's different with games like DayZ and, you know, games like GTA. There's big leveling systems in GTA. There's real world money involved.
Yeah.
You know, DayZ doesn't have a real world money currency system currently, and I can't imagine it ever will do. Yeah, I'm just not interested in mods in some games. Obviously, everyone's like, "Oh, I want to mod this, want to mod that." That's fine. Or they just make a sandbox mode that's for modding. So it's away from the main leveling system. It's away from the real world currency system.
That makes sense.
You know, it wouldn't work again in every single game. That's not how it'd work. But there are games that have in the past that when mods have been applied, it stops any sort of XP gain regardless of what of the mod is, whether it was cosmetic mods or anything like that. So you couldn't gain XP in the game and stuff like that. That works. That stops it being abused. But
I mean, like I know Bethesda do that with Fallout and Skyrim games. Like if you start modding it, then it'll disable the Steam achievements and those kind of things.
Yeah. So again, it's a way to stop modding that's a bit corrupt. Bethesda can't talk about modding anyway with their paid mods. But that's a slippery slope. I'm not going down that topic. No, not at all. We could be here.
Maybe that'll be the next episode. We talk about mods a bit more.
Maybe.
Got tons of ideas. Oh, you're in for a treat in the next couple of episodes.
Speaking of games that can be mod, or one of the most famous games that can be mod, Minecraft received a big update this week, actually.
Yes, isn't that the aquatic
update? Yeah, it's officially version 1.13. It was released a couple of weeks ago.
I feel like that update should have been out 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's given life to these underwater parts of Minecraft that has essentially been dead. I mean, they added squids back in the day, fishing, which is blind fishing because there's actually no fish there. And then that was it, really. There was nothing to the underwater world in Minecraft. So what this has added, it's added a bunch of creatures. There is a bunch of new blocks. So we've got there's additions such as sort of coral reef blocks. There's
turtles.
There's turtle eggs. There's turtles. There's tridents. There's new weapons. Turtle shells. Which I think can be used as stuff. And new mobs include the phantom, dolphins, fish mobs.
Can you have a bigger boat?
So cod, salmon, pufferfish. I'm unsure actually. Shipwrecks, icebergs in frozen biomes, underwater ruins, buried treasure, underwater caves, and there's new biomes as well. That are based on temperature, so you can have warm, lukewarm, and cold variants of ocean biomes and stuff like that. There's also a new potion. There's also a new potion that will allow you to obviously breathe underwater. And the trailer kind of shows people building underwater. Hopefully, they've made that easier than it was before, because it's all we've tried to do underwater buildings, and it is a nightmare to get the shell done. But maybe they've worked on it. There's also like these big treasure maps that you can go in search of, on the shipwrecks.
I wonder if they tweaked the lighting underwater, because I remember on the older versions it was very dark down there.
Yeah,
So.
I can imagine they have. Yeah, these treasure maps lead you to treasure which is on the shore.
That's cool.
And you get these called
pirates.
Hearts of the Sea.
Hearts of the Sea.
Which I don't know. The trailer doesn't quite reveal what they do, but they kind of look like Ender Eyes. So whether it leads you to a new boss location that they've not revealed in the trailer, I don't know. There's probably plenty of videos on YouTube looking at it, but I can't say I've looked into it. But it's
a megalodon or a giant squid,
something like that. But they've it's another big update to the game, and it's still going despite Fortnite taking away a lot of its audience. It's still going.
Yeah. You know what? Talking about Minecraft, I actually tried it on virtual reality last night.
Oh yeah.
Because I've got the PSVR, so I had to use a third-party software and download this VR mod called Vivecraft and hook it up via that, and I managed to get the Clay Soldiers mod working for it. So I might do a little video in the future of me, messing around with the Clay Soldiers. I might even stream it, VR streaming Clay Soldiers.
VR streaming, that's the future right there, isn't it?
Yeah. Crazy.
VR streaming, I'll tell you what. Anything else you've got lined up?
No, not really. I really need the toilet, to be fair, so it's probably best if we could wrap this up,
Well, I was going to talk about a few games we're playing this week, but we can always leave that for next time.
Oh no. Go ahead. There's no reason to leave the fans guessing. I'm sure they're gonna get their pitchforks out, light the torches, and burn down the studio, because we're not going to tell them right away.
Oh, well, also wanted to talk about really was Darwin Project, because
okay, yeah, go on.
Playing that the last few days again. It's just so good, and it's sort of paving the way for something big I can see happening on Twitch soon. And it's these game integrations, because these apps that people are making for Twitch now that integrate with the game, like Dr. Disrespect had produced one for his channel where he could sell an in-game item via Twitch, and obviously he receives more of the benefit for it than what the developers were. That was the deal they obviously came to between themselves. Obviously there's a with Darwin Project, the viewers can vote on parts of the map that can be closed, whether you can give people items. For those of you who don't know what Darwin Project is, it's another battle royale game, which 10 people in the arena, either 1v1s, or you can play in teams of 2. And then there's a show director, who's kind of like the game master, the guild master, as it were, who can manipulate the arena. Not so much where it's it's too intrusive, which is good, and the better directors are, because you get rated at the end. The higher rated directors can use more powerful spells, so the trolls get pushed down, and the people that are good rise to the top with more powers in terms of the directors. But the viewers of the directors can influence some things. So the map is split into hexagons, and the director can choose to close one of these, and if it gets to that time where he fancies to close the zone, he can either choose to close it himself or get the fans to close it via a voting system. And I've actually checked out the voting system today. It's really good. Love it.
Nice, awesome. Well, is that it?
I think that's it really. Played a bit of DayZ, but yeah, we can go into a whole DayZ thing next time. It's still the same as it was 4 years ago.
Alright, so clearly the production value of this is just through the roof. So if you want to play that jingle so I can go to the toilet and have a leak, it's been a pleasure for the whole one person that's listening right now. Thank you very much. And leave a comment if you would like us to read your thoughts for the 3rd episode, which should be next week, in case we burn and die and the studio and our careers end around us, which probably might happen. So that would be worth a watch. It'll be a train wreck you do not want to miss.
And thanks for the super chats as well.
Which will last for another 5 days probably, but we are going to get a guest for next week, so you won't have to listen to just myself or Up the Bell. We are going to get some variety.
Esteemed guests coming.
Yes, very famous people, exclusively on the Sneaky Bros podcast. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Zitlag, and this has been
Sneaky Vale, and
Sneaky Vale.
Always, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Right, I'm going to run to the loo. Do you want Do you want to
I'm
hit
gonna
that jingle?
hit that outro.
All right, okay. See you later, chaps.